Good morning. Oh, good. We're all connected. I think I see Terry. Yeah. And Karen. Hello, my friends. So anyway, I'm excited for today. I've got lots to talk about. There was a few questions that came in, and one of them was my gratitude jar. If you guys have seen my gratitude jar, it's probably my favorite thing. It actually says grateful, but it's my gratitude jar. Okay, look how big it is. So I got this jar at, what's the name of that store? Oh my God, I'm blanking for a second. Marshall's. So Marshall's is like Home Goods, TJ Maxx in the US, something like that. And it's sort of, you know, a place where you can get like nice brand names kind of on the cheaper side, which is always great. So I found this jar, and this is a famous, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. This is a woman, you could probably see her work in a lot of places, and I can't remember her name, but she's got lots of like cups and mugs and things like that. And so I've had this jar probably for about a year, and I go through spurts where I write in there, and lately I've been writing a lot. And so how I do my things is I have this little jar, a little ceramic jar, and I cut these out from those pieces of art paper that I showed you guys before, just little squares. And I have these pens, and I just have this in the other room, and so that people can just come in and write a little gratitude and fold it up and put it in here. And the thing is, you know, you're not actually gonna ever probably read them because you'd have to almost break this thing to get to it. But I love it, and I love how beautiful all of these colored papers are. And you know, these artist papers are so great. You could also use, you know, anything. But I wanted to show you that I found these other ones I had started. This is from my sister Susie had told me about these. Okay, look at these two jars. I feel like they were in one of those what do you call it? Time capsules? Look how old this one is. And in here are tons of little gratitude notes. And I think that we started it in the beginning of the year, and it was sort of like this thing that I did with my sister, and then somehow these jars got, you know, moved and put away, and I just found them, and I thought they were so funny how dirty they are. But you just get a bell jar if you don't have a big wine jug, and then you can write gratitude on it. And anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys because they're so fun, and I made my kids write at dinner some gratitudes and put them in there, so who knows what the heck they're grateful for. So the other, I'm gonna do some demos too, but the other thing that I think was Patty asked me about was, I love this question too. She asked me about what was the first piece of art that and it could have been to the whole group, actually, the question, but what was the first piece of art that I did that made me feel like I was, or an artist, or became an artist? Like, what was that one piece? And so I've been really thinking about this a lot. And so I just want to give you a little bit background. I loved art my whole life and was very crafty. I remember hanging out with Donna Propus all the time, and we would make so many crafts. Oh my gosh, like just sweaters and like just cutting up dolls and Santa dolls and just having so much fun. And my mom was super, super crafty. She would sew all our clothes, and I mean, she had 5 kids, so she was running around with all of those guys. But I would go over to Donna's house and we would create some crafty things together. And I just always loved to draw. So I've always felt like being an artist was in my blood, and I've always felt like I could, I always felt I was creative. But when I went to college, I just went to a state college. I did not go to a fancy art school. I graduated with a BFA in graphic design in '88. And I really never felt like I fit in. I never felt like I fit into the artist name tag. I wasn't moody. I mean, who knows? I could have been moody, but I wasn't broody. I wasn't depressed, and I wasn't, you know, in a deep thinker. I was having fun. It was college. And I just never, like all my art classes, you guys, I never felt like I was an artist. I just took my classes, and my teachers, most of them were super critical and not very nice. And I didn't really hang out with the art crowd. I always felt like they kind of snubbed me a little bit, like, who's that girl? So I never really had a feeling after college that I wanted to go and be an artist, like a fine artist. I ended up being a graphic designer, and then that led me years and years and years in the corporate world. So the reason I wanted to tell you that is I was really thinking about this, and I think that I'm hoping it's not this way in college today, but I think that the generation that I grew up in was one of those generations where you weren't an artist unless you were doing the fine art road. And there was a certain kind of stereotypical view of an artist. And I feel like I wish and I hope that people are encouraging everybody that they can be an artist and they can do whatever they want to do. And I feel like everybody is an artist. That's the thing. Like, I think that every single person is an artist and has a creative bone in their body. And some people just don't know it. So even in our group here, I know that there's a handful of you guys who are just finding art and just finding that amazing inspirational spark that it can create, and at a later part in our life. And my sister is a perfect example. My older sister, Sarah, never did any art her whole entire life, nothing until last year. And now all of a sudden she's this prolific watercolorist, and she is painting all the time and sending me her little paintings. And my mom and I are like, oh my gosh, she's so good. Like, she just came out. So it's a long-winded answer, and I'm going to show you a piece that does kind of reflect the one piece that changed my sort of vision of becoming a professional artist. But I want everybody to know that I think everybody's an artist somehow, whether you're a baker, whether you're a seamstress, whether you're a musician, you're all artists because we're all creative, right? Okay, but this is the piece that, sorry, that was so long-winded. This is the piece that changed my direction of what I wanted to do in my life. Okay, so I'm trying to make it straight for you. Hold on. All right, so this is a piece called Pink Ellie. And this is a print. This is a gallery wrap. I created this piece. It was 24 by 30. I think I spent 6 months on it. And it was a piece where I would work outside. I can see outside right here. I would paint lots of layers. And oh yeah, a bunch of you guys have this one. I know that. And I just sent this to Suzanne in Ireland. But Pink Ellie was done with really pretty different layers and backgrounds. And there was, even in the original, there was a piece of gauze in here, and it has a lot of, you know, a lot of unique things to me that I love doing that was different. Whoopsie. And what happened was, and here's the story of how I really felt like it changed the way I thought about being an artist. I was working in a job with my children when I painted this. And I was thinking, oh, I would love to like sell my art. And I remember, this is before I had quit my job. I went and I did an art show, and I started doing art shows on the weekend, like the ones where you you would go and you set up your booth for a couple days, and you would be there for 2 days on the weekends, and you would sell your art. So it was the first one I ever did. And I brought a bunch of these paintings, and it's probably way undervalued because I had no idea what to sell for. But I remember I had this as my favorite painting in the world, and I had to, you know, let myself let go of it. So that was a big deal, like actually sell something and let go of it, because sometimes as artists, we hold on to our art. And so this was a big learning thing for me. So I have this on display, and a man comes up, and some of you guys have heard this, sorry if it's repetitive, but a man comes up and he said, I want to have that painting, and would you lower your price? And I looked at him and I said, oh my God, I said, first of all, thank you. And no, I will actually go up in price if I change my price at all, because I love this painting, and just the fact that it was going to be maybe sold made me really emotional. So I was not going to lower my price. And so he left, and he was like, okay, thank you. And he left, and he comes back the next day, and he's staring across me from like across the way, and he looks over at me and he goes, I'm going to buy that painting for my mom. And he said, I love it so much. I thought about it all night. I just had to come back, and if it was still available, I wanted to buy it. Okay, so here's this part of the story is that we both started crying. I'm crying, he's crying, and he's crying because it meant so much to him. And it meant so much for him to give this art to his mom. And it meant so much for me to let go of something that I truly, truly loved. And the pivotal part of me leaving my job to become a full-time professional artist was knowing that A, I could do it, B, I could share the love of my art. And still to this day, whoever has bought a piece of my original paintings, I know how much they love it. And that's why I do it now. And that's why I really encourage you guys, like, the process of painting is such an incredible journey that even though the original is gone, the process is there. I know it, I remember it. I have this, high-res image of it. That's why I encourage you guys to take photos of all your work if you give it away as gifts or you sell it or whatever. I just want you guys to know that the sharing of my art is the reason why I left my job to continue this road to share this creativity. And I just wanted you guys to hear that story, because it really is, like, if you think about your life and you think about pivotal moments in your life, like what made me do this one thing, this would be it. It would be Pink Ellie. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story with you guys. You guys are so cute. No, like, I cry a lot over my paintings, but I let them go. You gotta let them go. All right. Now, I did have a couple other, like, demo kind of questions. So I decided I was going to work on this piece. This is like a demo that for you guys who are new in the group, this is a piece that I use for demoing a lot of things that we're working on. And so I picked it up the other day, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of liking it. It's so pretty. And so Karen and Terry might have asked me in the group if I keep it abstract. And yes, I'm thinking I'm going to keep it abstract. I don't think I'm going to put an image on it quite yet, but who knows, maybe I will. But I'm feeling it to be abstract. I've been really working and doing more abstract this year in COVID year than I have any other time. So I want to continue that. But what I want to do today is, there were a couple questions that came up, and one of them is about some brushes, some angle brushes, and also some acrylic inks. And I want to do a little demo on paint pens. And then there is another question here, sorry, that I want to talk to before I put us down on the paper, on the canvas, is how much time, Kara asked, how much time do I spend a day or a week on painting? And so if I wasn't working on a class, so right now I am working on a class for Lifebook, and it takes me about a good 3 to 4 weeks to create a class. And so I'm almost finished with it. And those are the weeks or days that I wish I could be painting more. But so the other day, actually, my mom and my sister Sarah and I did a Zoom art fun, like 2 hours of just being together and just painting on our own separate things. So I would say that in a normal day, I like to do about 2 hours a day in the studio. If I do more than 2 hours, I almost feel like that's too much for me. I've never been the type of painter who could sit for long stretches of time and paint, or stand for long stretches of time. Because when I work on my layers, I work on them in such detail that sometimes I don't want to get stuck in the layer I'm working on for a longer time frame. So I need to like step away, because usually the very next day you see something completely different. And so that's one thing I wanted to tell you about. That's one thing for Kara, is I wish I could do more, to be honest. I do try to do 1 or 2 days where it's just art in my studio, and that could be cleaning my studio or cleaning around my art supplies and things like that. And so that's usually on a Friday or Saturday. And then the paper, hot press Fabriano, I love. And I use 140 pound. 90 pound is fine. It's just thinner, and so it may not take as much mixed media if you have a ton of mixed media. And 300 is also really great too if you want to do some, you know, beautiful work that maybe you're selling, that you wanted to have a nice thick paper. For my art journals I do it in 140 pound. They're easier to fold and hold and work with. So I sort of go right in the middle. And Chris is asking a question about, is it Chris or Keisha? Kissa. Is it Kissa? Oh my gosh, I love that name. Let me know if it's Kissa or Keisha. I don't know. I'm really bad at pronouncing. Ask my mom. It's her fault. Okay, so does anybody have a name of a color mixing chart that they would recommend? I don't have it on the top of my head, but Jean Oliver did a live where she has one that was fantastic. So I will try to find that out and let you know. And it was one where you would also show what kind of complementary color works with another set of colors. So we'll try to look at that. All right, so I'm gonna flip us down, and we're gonna get started on a couple little demos. All right, hold on. So a couple things I wanted to talk to you about today are some inks and some brushes, and we're going to do a little demo. Look at all this fun stuff. Okay. So brushes. All right. So I had some questions on the angle brushes. Now, since I went back home to Buffalo, and I know how much I need to take care of my brushes, because my mom schooled me, and basically I wasn't doing a good job on those, and now I am. And I love Princeton because they're a great price, but I also found these ones at King Art, and this one, I'm not too sure where I got this one from. So I just wanted to show you a couple of the angle brushes. I think the trick to the brushes is when you're working with acrylic, you don't want to get one that's super soft. So I get the synthetic because I like, it's a little bit not as soft and not so hard. I don't like my brushes to be really hard either. So I kind of like an in-between. And there was a question on the mini detailers. The mini detailers are by Princeton, and I really love this small one. Okay, so this is a number 4, and this is before I knew how to take care of my brushes. Okay, so I know I do a better job now, but mini detailer, Princeton, it's a shader, an angle shader, and I'll show you why I like the angles. And then these are some other ones too. King Art is a great place, and my mom was telling me that oh, what's it called? Okay, Mom, will you send everybody this message? It's called the Brush Girl, I think. I wrote this down and I don't even know what I said. The Brush something, Moderner, whatever. Mom, tell everybody about the brush special that you just saw. Okay, back to business. So these are some brushes, and there was somebody who asked me a question about other brushes, and you need to let me know again because I lost it. I couldn't find it in all of our comments, and I know that she had some other questions too, so I don't want to ignore you. I just wanted to find that question. This is also a cleaner that my mom loves, and since then I have bought this and I really like it. I got it on, oh, thanks, Mom. Okay, it's called the Brush Guys, and right now the Brush Guys have a they're discontinuing a brand that she really likes. Sandra and Mom, would you guys write the name of the brand that's on sale? That's really awesome. Okay, they're gonna get back to you guys in the comments. They're my little helpers. Okay, so the Masters brush cleaner, my mom loves, 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 and I've been using it and I really like it. And I just wash my brushes and then I, use this to wash them out. My mom has this bar of soap that you can also put into a little container and she just goes back and forth with her brush cleaner. So anyway, I have been cleaning my brushes. I have been very, very good, well behaved. All right, to the fun part. So I'm gonna do a little ink demo with the angled brushes. And I'm gonna go right on here. And I was thinking this morning, like, what kind of colors do I wanna have? And I think right now I'm not loving this gray area right here. So I wanna bring in a little bit of pink. Blues and pinks are what I'm working with. So this is quinacridone magenta, which is one of my 2 favorite colors. This one and the phthalo turquoise. They're by Golden. Golden is more expensive than most of the fluid inks. And I'm calling these inks. So these are really high flow acrylics, but they're very similar to inks. The Goldens are just a tiny bit thicker and they're more vibrant. And then the Amsterdam inks is one brand and Daler Rowney is another. And I just wanted you to know I kind of say inks, but what I'm talking about is having a really fluid paint. And so the other thing is that my mom will probably be like, what? I have to always pop out a little X-Acto knife when I'm opening these. And you know what else I want to do? I just want to grab an apron because lately my inks have been flying all over the place. So hold on, let me just get my apron on. All right, so I'm just gonna put down, oh, that's probably too much. And then titanium white, I love that too. So these are both, as you can see, these are both just very fluid. And the reason why I love the angled brushes, I'll do this little detailer one, is because I can get this great edge. So I'm just gonna mix these 2 together. And these are both the same consistency. So I'm just gonna go right on top. And the reason why I like an angled brush is, I'll show you that again, is that I can go like thick. And then as I twist the side, I can go thinner. But I just like how I can get a lot of the area, but also different lines. So I'm just gonna go right in there. And the reason why I like the fluid inks so much, or the fluid paints, is that it's translucent compared to a thick one in some of my areas. So I will literally just, now if you don't want to use your finger, just put on gloves or use a sponge brush. But I should get these off so I can move this closer. The reason why I like it so much is because you can see some of those marks underneath. And so I'm just going in like this. And then you can angle your brush. Get a lot of coverage down, and it makes some good dabs too. So I can make some marks. I'm holding it up with one hand. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I can go right on top of that dark paint and add some marks. I love the adding white. Now I'll use white almost every time I'm in here because I love just mixing and getting all this different pink. That's so pretty. I also love putting colors together that you probably wouldn't really think about doing. You know, the magenta against this turquoise. Let's go in another area. Maybe, I think I'm gonna leave that like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back. Oh, Angela's got some good tips on the brushing too, on the brushes. Yes. Okay, make sure you guys read all those comments. Okay, so I'm still loving this brush. I'm not changing it up right now, but you know, I do like to change up my brushes so I get different stroke marks. But just adding that pink, and while that's down and while that's wet, where's my skewer? I have it somewhere. Oh, is, you know, to go in and scratch some of that off. So one of the reasons why I love working this style is because I could just be painting for hours, and then maybe I would have gone too far. Maybe I would have added too many details. And so that's one of the reasons why I do like, you know, limiting my time. Not limiting my time, but putting in a couple hours and then giving myself a break. Okay, this is another reason why I love the angle brushes, is it makes this great mark. I don't know what, or line, you know, so I'm thick at the top, I'm using it, and then I'm lifting it. So I'm thick at the top, and then I'm lifting it up. And as I lift it up to the end, it becomes thinner. And you know, this will probably get all covered up, but you'll see some of these, you know, you'll see some of these when I go over the next layer. You might only get a tiny bit more of that pink. You never know. You never know. All right, so let's add some more pink before I switch colors. I'm just gonna do some here. So that's one of my brushes. I'm gonna switch my brush. Go with a little bit bigger. And you know, I'll probably not use all this ink, and so then I'll either paint after I'm done with you guys today, or when I'm finished with you guys. I'm probably gonna paint after, or I'll put saran wrap on top. But let me show you another type of paint. This one is a phthalo green. It's fluid, not high fluid, okay? So the difference is that it's a little bit thicker than your high flow. So this is high flow and this is fluid. And hopefully you can see that. So this is fluid, this is high flow. And so when you're looking for paints online, now I think this is kind of old, it's a little small. And I always buy these little guys too, sometimes when I'm just starting out, because I want to see if there's if there's anything even in here. Oh my God. Hold on, we're gonna find out what's down here. Oh gosh, not much. All right, this was not a good example. All right, it's not as thick as that, but you know what? We're not gonna waste our inks. We're gonna go to town and use them. So this is fluid acrylic, and it's the phthalo green blue shade. There's a couple different shades of blue and turquoise. So again, I'm gonna use my white, and this is an old palette, you know, I'll just go over it, you know, and find, look at that color, isn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness. So then if you have a little bit of that magenta, look at that color. That's like a little purpley. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm gonna need more white. Now the thing is, when I mix colors, I never know what I'm gonna do. I never know what I'm doing. I wish I was better at that, but I'm not, maybe one day. So I'm just gonna go in and use this angled brush. This is a 3/8. And I'm just gonna use it and make some marks on top of an area that's dry. And I think the reason why I like the angled brushes is because they're fat and I can get like a nice mark down, as opposed to if it was just pointy. They're like my little dabs. I'm gonna add a little bit more white. Oh my God, Angela is using the word phthalo in a password. I love it. It took me forever to figure out how to say that. I'm very proud of myself because, you know, I don't know what I was calling it before. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a few more. Well, I have that magenta. So magenta and turquoise together. That's so good. Okay. I'm sorry my demo on my fluid didn't work as well. But just think about that when you're looking at different paints, is that depending on what you're looking for. So the reason why I like the high flow and the inks is because I love how they drip. You can spray it with water. I'm not going to do that today, but you can spray it with water. You can hold it up and you can let everything drip down. You could also spray this right now with water and move it around with a sponge brush if you want to do that as well. These are all just different things that you can do in your layers. And what other color do I want to show you guys? I'm going to show you this. Okay, this may not show up, but this is a color that I absolutely love. It is nickel gold. And oh my God, you guys, I just looked. It was $9.50. Is that ridiculous? I guess it's really probably made out of gold or something. Maybe there's some gold specks in there. Okay, don't get mad, but I got to open it up like this. I don't know if anybody else has a trick. All right, well, we're gonna do this instead. I'm just gonna show you, I'm just gonna dip in here a little bit. So this is not a angled, it's just a straight, so number 4. I don't know what's in here. Let's take a little peek. But this gold with white is really cool. Okay. Now, that's probably not a color you would find most of my paintings in, but I really do like adding a little bit of this gold color and also using it just on its own. It has a little bit of shine to it. I swear it does. I'm sure it won't show that now. So the little tiny brushes, I'll just do little tiny details. And so I could cover this whole thing in 2 hours easily, just easily making little marks and lines. And for those who are new to this group, who haven't taken some of my classes, I like to turn it. I'm always like messing with things, trying different brushes, but and different color combinations, but usually like in one setting, I probably only have like 3 to 4 or 5 colors at once. And I have the colors and I just kind of make and stay with those. And then maybe the next day I come and I do some art, then I will totally change those colors up and pick some new ones. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you was I showed some of my Posca pens. Do you guys have any more questions on the inks too? Let me know, or the fluid paint, let me know. I absolutely love it. Oh, I had these to show you too. You know, you just do the same thing. You can do the same thing with these inks. The other thing, the reason I also love these is that you can use the stopper to make some marks. So much fun. All right, so I'm gonna move on though too, otherwise we'd be here all day. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this upside down. Well, no, I'm just gonna move this over here. If I flip it upside down, I'll get completely covered in ink. Maybe we'll work on this section right here. So you guys, I'm crazy about paint pens. And some people feel like paint pens aren't really real art supplies. Well, they're full of baloney because all they are, it's acrylic paint and it's in a paint pen. So the reason I love it, like I have a feeling like that was a paint pen, but the reason, oh, Wendy, what kind of inks were those? Hold on. Okay, we've got Amsterdam, turquoise green, and Dale Rowney turquoise. And the inks are great because you can make marks with the stopper. I also use these a lot with the white titanium. I'll mix my colors and get these beautiful shades, these pale shades with that. You guys, I'm so happy with my phone. I'm looking on my computer at our screen and what a difference. Those old videos, wow, they're so ancient now I think about it. All right, So the Posca pens, the reason I love these Posca pens is that you can get such a great line, and I'm just gonna go over some of my shapes here. From anything to just making interesting shapes. And if I do, hold on, let me move that up. If I do the shapes here, what I'd like to do is also go find another place and do them, you know, just kind of balance that out somehow. So the paint pens are great to just do some little tiny details. The reason why I like Posca is I just love their colors. I mean, look how gorgeous these colors are. This is a lilac. Now, Lukey was in here the other night and he painted his skateboard with my paint pens. Mom, even though my mom bought him a whole entire set, he's such a lazy bones, he would not go upstairs to his room to get them. So I told him we are now sharing the ones that my mom bought him. Okay, so the other thing I like to do with paint pens is you can do this with a little brush too. There's no reason you have to go buy paint pens, but of course we all love art supplies. But I just wanted to show you all the fun things that you can do with them. So, you know, from the littlest details, I will probably go and cover a lot of that up, but some of it won't be covered up. You can even do these lines, little lines. So I love the bright colors on top. Another thing is, you know, Sharpie makes some good ones too. And these were kind of like my go-to for the longest time. You can scribble, make tiny little marks. I'm going right over that ink. It's probably not quite dry. Who knows what that will end up being. A couple other of my favorites of the Posca would be this green, aqua green. And they're really great for just, you know, lines and things. But the other thing you can do too is you could do words. You know, you could do all your words in here if you wanted. You could do a whole painting in them. Aren't they fun? Look how much fun that is. Just tons of different marks and things like that. Okay, the other last thing I want to do on the paint pens is signing your paintings. I'm not going to sign this one yet because it's not done. But taking a paint pen, you know what? I'm going to sign. I don't want to sign down here, so I don't think it'll show up. But let's pretend it. Whoopsie. Let's pretend it's done. I'm going to paint over this. But I hold my hand like this, and I just sign my art like that, right? And if you hated it, well, that dries pretty fast. If you hated it, you had to paint that over. But if you were really super, super, super fast, you could probably wipe it right off. But I really do like signing my work with the paint pens. And they're great. You can paint on, like my kid does, your skateboard. He also uses paint pens and he decorates his room. He doodles all over his room with paint pens. And they're waterproof, so you can probably put them on a lot of stuff and go to town. But I told him, like, he might want to varnish his skateboard, but then he just took it out and started skating away. The other thing too with the paint pens is that you can get different thicknesses. I really prefer the 3M when I'm working on my canvas. When you're working on paper, it's a completely different feel. It's a lot smoother, but I do like the 3M. So that's my one that I like to do on canvas. And then when I'm on paper, I like using the 1M. It's just thinner. You know, this is so thin on canvas. So, but anyway, all right. Hopefully you guys liked that.